Hey everyone, Jane here. Thank you for watching my video today. I am starting off with some images from the Bits and Bobs Industrial Edition by Maremi Small Art, and I'm using images that I've already cut out to give me my colour sort of combination that I wanted to use in the background for this mixed media page. I'm working in the Canson Art Book and I'm adding quite a bit of water to this page because I want to get a really flowy sort of feel to the background. The first paints, well, they're not really paints, they're actually sort of inks. They are the Sumi inks and they are the Boku-Undo range of, I think they're called the Japanesque colours. So the two colours I chose to use are the yellowish black and the bluish black because those were the colours that I felt were mostly in keeping with the images that I'd chosen from the book. The book is a really fab one. The Bits and Bobs has lots and lots of different images to cut out and it's full of fun light bulbs and sort of cogs, but also has butterflies, dragonflies, birds and some people as well. So you get a real range of different images. Now the blackish colours are very dark, so I wanted to add a bit of brightness in, and this also sort of matched in with the images that I'd cut out as well. So I'm going here with the Core Cobalt Teal, and in a little while I didn't realize when I was filming that you couldn't quite see my other color, and this is the Burnt Sienna. No, I'm not telling the truth. It wasn't the Core Cobalt Teal. It was the Daniel Smith Ultramarine Turquoise, and it's the Core Burnt Sienna. And actually you can tell that the Burnt Sienna is core because as soon as I added that colour on top of that water, it really flowed. And that is one of the things that I really love about the Core watercolours by Golden. So those were to add in that sort of patina and rust sort of look that was in the images. So I'm just sort of working at adding in where I think I want the colour. There was no grand plan. I was just sort of going with the flow, literally, and just adding colour where I felt like it. So once I'd added in the turquoise and the burnt sienna, I felt like I needed a little bit more of those darker tones back in, so I'm adding those in, but I'm adding quite a lot of water. The Sumi inks are very, very intense and you can get really dark tones from them, but I wanted them to be a lot more watered out, so I had to add quite a lot of water, which is why you will see me at various points mopping it up a little bit. Now this is the page once it dried, and as always it will dry back a bit lighter. I wanted to add a bit of lightness into the page with some white acrylic paint, and this stencil is called Totally Textured and it's one that I designed for Cleverprints. I will add links into the description box along with a list of the products that I have used. I do not get any money for you clicking on links. I'm not affiliated to any companies, including Cleverprints. However, because I do design the product, some of the products that I use for Cleverprints, obviously if people buy them, then I do earn commission on that. I then wanted to add in some stamping, so I'm using my own design again, the Maker Mark stamp set, and I wanted to again add in that sort of patina and rust feel. So I'm going with the Evergreen Bough, which is, I always used to like using a salvaged patina, but I've actually discovered that I think Evergreen Bough is a really good industrial tone. I really do like it. It's one that I never bought for a long time in the distress colours, but it's one that I really now like. So the first stamp is like I created from a piece of drywall tape to create that print to make the stamp set. And then this next one is like a little distressed circle. I can't even remember how I created that one for the stamp set, but I'm using the Sepia Archival ink for this one so that it gives you that sort of rust sort of look. They're quite pale colours and that was what I wanted. I wanted these parts to just go into the background. Then I'm taking the images that I cut out. Now I cut these out and I then sort of went round the edges with a brown permanent marker just to get the white sort of raw edge taken away. And I had, before I did this part, I had done a few layouts of the pieces to see where I wanted to lay them. So I did have an idea already. This isn't just me going, oh, look, this is how it'll go. I had already planned sort of where I might want the pieces. It changes every time though, even if I lay them out, and as soon as I take them off, I've usually forgotten. But if you do want to do that, you can always take a picture, you know, with your phone or something, and just then remind yourself, because I needed to sort of be aware of which things I wanted behind so I could stick those down before putting other things on top. And the glue I am using is the Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium in the matte version. And so I'm just going to now be placing those all around the page. And then I've also cut out some sentiment phrases. Now these are from the Fashionista Personas industrial book by Maremi. They are not sentiments in the sense that they're really long sentiments. They're more phrases, so they're just like 2-word phrases, but I really like them. They're really handy, and if you want to make them into a longer sentence, like longer sentiment I should say, like I do on this page, you can sort of cut a few out and then build them all together. You don't have to just use one. And in the book they're in 3 different sizes. These were the biggest size, I do believe, that are in the book. So I'm now sticking those to the page as well. Now I wanted to add a bit of shadowing, and so I'm using the Inktense pencil in bark. I started off putting the pencil straight on and then decided that it was easier to actually lift it from the tip, but do make sure you are lifting it from where the pigment of the pencil is and not getting the wood part wet. Once that was all completed and had dried properly, I then got out my white Posca pen to add a little bit of detailing around where I had stuck the phrases. And in a moment you will see I will also go onto some of those elements to add a few little highlights just to help lift them out of the page. So if you have enjoyed this video, I would love it if you could give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, it would be fantastic if you could hit that subscribe button and join us on this arty crafty journey. So until the next time, bye bye.